Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today, 31st day of July. Good morning. It is a great morning. We had a surprise for you. I had a surprise. I had a great surprise. I had the best surprise. That surprise is not coming today. There's no hidden magic trick that's coming. That surprise will come. Don't worry. But it's not this morning. So apologies if you got up thinking this morning. Surprise day. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this surprise. I am so excited. It's not coming, all right? I'm sorry. I tried. But it will be here. Mark my words. It's coming. Oh, Lord, he's coming. All right, enough of that. Let's dive in. We're talking head scratchers. We're talking the head scratcher moves of an SWBA summer. A lot of S's in there. 4 moves that are confusing, that make no sense. Not many of them are deep cuts. It's just, what the heck? What is going on? And let's start with my beloved Warriors. We talked plenty about the restricted free agency and all of that, but the head-scratching move is actually not Golden State. The head-scratching move is Jonathan Kuminga. What are we doing? Because this one continues to evolve. As of yesterday, story came out that he continues to deny the Warriors. I think it's 2 for 40. There's a team option on the second half, which obviously he doesn't like. But that move, and coupled with everything that Kuminga and his camp have done, what are we doing? I mean, it's one thing to want money, okay? And that's fair. You should want as much money. And it's another thing to want opportunity. And those things sometimes are mutually exclusive, but in this case, I don't think that's mutually exclusive. Wanting money and wanting an opportunity, good. You should want that. But do we not see the rest of the market? Because the rest of the market is simply not there. Okay, there's not a team that's lining up right now to give Jonathan Kuminga the amount of money that he wants, coupled with the opportunity. There's not a team that's capable of giving Jonathan Kuminga, because you've got to play ball. And I know, as big of a fan of Jonathan Kuminga as I am, it's clear to see that the relationship with the Warriors is all but beyond repair. Okay, not going back there, or at least he's not going to be happy. But it takes 2 to tango. And so if you're Jonathan Kuminga and you're saying, well, I can't find any team that'll pay me the money I want, except for Golden State, who gets the closest maybe, let's say, then let's figure out a secondary option, because you can't get to where he wants to get to, we talked about this earlier in the week, without the money being right. And signing trades for a certain amount of monies aren't perfect. And in this case, it's not perfect, because Golden State's saying, we're not going to let you go for nothing. We want something coming back. And it just feels time and time again like not that they're overplaying their hand. I think they know exactly what their hand is. But more so, they're not playing ball. Because the Warriors are probably willing to do a signing trade and move him to somebody else. But you have to understand the situation and the landscape of which you're playing in. And right now, it doesn't appear like Kuminga and his camp do. Because for all the teams that want him, something's got to go back. And as painful as it probably is for him, the most logical move from a financial standpoint is to go back to the Warriors. Now, if you're sitting there saying, I don't want to go back on a team deal, team option on the second year, fine. That's understandable, not wanting to be tied to that. But the likelihood is that a team option there is so that when they trade you, the team can decline the option and sign you for an extension that's probably better for you in the long run. That's very well the possibility. It's more enticing of a trade asset to a team to say it's only 1 year of team control. It's essentially it's expiring. It's the same thing that happened with, I think it was Bruce Brown. Signed a 2-year, $40 million deal, $20 million each. Second year, I believe, was a team option. It had amounted to an expiring contract, or excuse me, not an expiring, but a trade exception with a legitimate player on it. Kuminga's a better player than Bruce Brown. Now, he's back on a vet minimum with Denver. I don't think that's the future of Jonathan Kuminga. But I can understand not wanting that. We'll get to that. But if you're Jonathan Kuminga, you've got to read the market. If your value in the market might be higher, but you're not going to do yourself any favors, and not that the Warriors have done themselves any favors, by refusing to go back unless it's now going to be on the qualifying offer, which is a trade exception, which, by the way, kind of hamstrings you a lot next summer. You then 100%, if you sign that qualifying offer, you have to be comfortable walking into unrestricted free agency and finding a team that has the cap space to sign you to that, because you can't do a signing trade. I don't believe on that. because if you get traded, the Bird years are gone. Now, maybe, I don't know enough of the cap. Maybe you can do a signing trade next summer, but guess who has to play ball again? Golden State. So, I see it. It just doesn't make sense to me that you would do a qualifying offer. You'd go back for about $8 million, $9 million and re-enter unrestricted free agency. What's the incentive for Golden State to play you beyond a need? They've needed him already. They haven't played him yet. There's no incentive for them, you making $9 million, for them to play you any iota. You want a $20 million plus deal, there's incentive to play you. One, because they want the rest of the league, if they want to trade you, to see what you look like and are legitimately good and playing. And two, because that's a good dollar amount. You're not getting to a team this upcoming season playing on that. On the other side, Golden State, what are we doing? I mean, golly. And I don't know they've done anything wrong this summer. But more specifically, this just feels like a continuation. I've said it time and time again. I do not agree with the way that Steve Kerr's handled this thing. But guess what? I'm not in the locker room calling shots. I know there's plenty of my co-hosts that would hop on this show and say they don't want to be a GM or they don't want to be a head coach. Not because of what I'm about to say, for plenty of other reasons. But you got numbskulls like me jumping on and saying, I don't think you're doing it right. With zero, I should say zero, a little bit, next to nothing, context of what's happening. But the handling of the Kuminga situation is not a good one. It has not looked good. It has not aged well. And the way that they've handled this has been really poor. There's nothing that they've done this summer that's changed that. That's made it worse. That's made it better. Just overall, pretty poor. All right, head-scratching summer move number 2. Indiana. I mean, letting Miles Turner walk for that amount of money. A franchise icon. A guy that has been constantly in trade rumors. And you just let him go to Milwaukee, of all places. You just let him go. It makes no sense. Yes, you're not going to be good this season. Or at least you're not going to be as good, because Tyrese Halliburton is not playing. But you could have been something. And you could have built a team that was ready for next season. And oh, by the way, you paying Miles Turner more than market value, because it seems all the reporting is that they made an offer. It was below market value. He went somewhere else, took the offer, didn't even give him a chance to match it. Nor should they have. But you're coming back. Let's say you re-sign him. Well, guess what? He's been in trade rumors ever since he was 2 years into the league. He's a stretch center that can defend the rim. There's a lot of value in that guy in the league. You could have easily moved off of him. If you're concerned with salary tax and luxury tax, you could have just moved off of him. Or you could have had a guy that was a focal point of your team that made its way to a Game 7, was leading at halftime in Game 7 of the SWBA Finals. You could have just moved on from him at any other point, or you could have had that guy back. So for them to not make what I would think to be a no-brainer move to bring him in, bring him back, it's indefensible. It makes zero sense, and you are now positioning yourself in a situation of which who knows what you're going to be able to do with it. You're not going to be a good basketball team. You've got pieces that are role players that are going to be having to punch above their weight class. And you could have at least had a guy that's 10 years into the league that understands what it takes to win and was on a team that has been winning on the roster, and instead he's on a rival team. Questionable. We're not talking Milwaukee, but team number 3, New Orleans, an unprotected first-round pick in the draft to the Atlanta Hawks, all so that you could move up and you could take Jermaine McLemore. Now look, I'm a big fan of Jermaine McLemore. I think there's a lot of high upside with Jermaine McLemore. But I don't know that this New Orleans team is going to be better next season, okay? It's a team that DJ Wagner, Jermaine McLemore are your 2 primary additions. Those are good additions. I think you walk out of the draft feeling very good about that. We got a guard and we got a wing. You traded for Jordan Poole. You got Zion Williamson. I don't hate this roster that's currently constructed in New Orleans. I don't. But I still don't think it's going to win a lot of basketball games in the Western Conference. It's not going to be a top 4 team. It's not going to be a top 8 team, because if your top 4 is Oklahoma City, Houston, Denver, and Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, Timberwolves, right? So those are, 6 teams, 7 teams right there. You're not better than any of those 7 teams. You're not better than the Spurs, who are going to be in the top 8. So now you're battling for a 9-10 spot, which you're probably not going to win, because now you got the Kings that are trying to be relevant. The Blazers are going to be improving. The Suns should be better than you if they're not higher up the chain. The Dallas Mavericks have a really great basketball team, and if they get Kyrie Irving back, are better than you. I don't know what team in the Western Conference is worse than the New Orleans Pelicans besides the Utah Jazz. So you're not going to be a top 8 team. You're probably not going to be a top 10 team. And you're going to now be battling for relevancy to not give up a top pick. That pick's probably going to end up in the top 6. It's probably going to end up in the top 6. And the Pelicans are going to give it up in a class that's got a top 5 that I have, or a top 4 that I have raved about. Justin Bell, D'Angelo Jordan, Nas Hall, and Arthur Lattimore. You think one of those guys wouldn't have been better for New Orleans? They're certainly better than Jermaine McElmore. And you've given up the opportunity to get one of those 4 players so you could add Jermaine McElmore. I'm not saying Jermaine McElmore's bad. 2 seasons ago, McElmore was a key reason, if not the reason, that the Miami Hurricanes won a national championship. McElmore is good. He's not that good. At least not right now. And you've given up a first-round pick next season in a class that is as good, if not better, than the class that we just had. That's a questionable decision. And our last questionable offseason move. Let's go to that draft. Because with the 20th pick, the Miami Heat took Braylon Burleson. Fresh off his run to a national championship game. Braylon Burleson is 23 years old. He was the 23-year-old taken, 2 spots behind Lamarian Sherwood, and 15 spots ahead of, that was quite a bit. They had quite a few, right? Malik McNeil, Kayshawn Shipp at 30 and 31 are the other near first-round picks that are 23 years old. These are the picks that came after Braylon Burleson. Nat Hawkins, 22 years old. Johnny Baldwin, 21-year-old forward. Richard Pizarski, 22-year-old forward. Travion Novick, 22-year-old forward. Dwan Epps, 22-year-old forward, or big man. Bam Wallace, a 21-year-old wing, many who had thought were going to be in the lottery. Jace Maguez, Floyd Henderson, Kirby Ordway, Malik McNeil. There are probably 2 guys in that list, if not 0 guys, that I'm taking Braylon Burleson over. Because I'm not taking him over Nat Hawkins. I'm not taking him over Baldwin, or Epps, or Novick, or Wallace, or Maguez, or Henderson. You can make the case for Richard Pizarski. I wasn't high on Pizarski, but that might mean I'm on an island. And Ordway and McNeil are the 2 guys. But then go into the second round. Kayshawn Shipp. Burleson's not better than that. Minor, Brian Vaughn, Madison Miles III. There are a lot of good guys that went after him. And the Miami Heat at number 20 decided to take Braylon Burleson. That's questionable. That's a questionable decision when you're a roster that needs to win. You need to win now. And I can understand you need to win now, so you want to take a guy that's a little bit older. But the pieces that were still there, Bam Wallace would have been a great 3-and-D wing to play next to between Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. You could have had the Bam forward rotation. I mean, come on. The marketing writes itself. Nat Hawkins would have given you another interior threat. Dwan Epps could have been a better... you got Khalil Ware, so you're probably okay there. But Jace Maguez, you need a playmaker. Jace Maguez can do that on the perimeter. The decision to take Braylon Burleson is a questionable one for a roster that needs to win. And I don't think that you're going to see many rookies that move the needle in winning, but Braylon Burleson most certainly does not. That's our show. We're back tomorrow morning on a Friday morning. Yells will join the campaign. We will talk about who knows what, but it'll be a good time. We'll see you there here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.